Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Property Manager 101, and today we'll be discussing best practices for managing your amenities. If you've not already done so, please watch my disclosure video as well as my why I do this video. If you find this video helpful and learned something new, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. This video will really apply strictly to multifamily sites that offer amenity or common areas for their residents. Most likely in most single-family management companies or commercial, you may not have this aspect for your residents and potential residents, but in the event you do, feel free to apply some of these practices as well. And here are the 3 best practices for managing your amenities. Number 1, schedule. Really make sure that you have a schedule down and all of your staff and vendors are aware of it, and maybe even include some of your residents of some of these practices as well, so they know the schedule as well. Make sure your maintenance staff is constantly inspecting everything to make sure it's clean. And if you don't have an outside company to clean your common areas, that's something you may want to add to their list. Make sure that your maintenance staff is checking if everything's functioning correctly, that all windows, doors are locking, unlocking, opening, and closing effectively in all of your amenities. Make sure that the maintenance team is really looking for an eye of detail for anything maintenance-wise periodically in your amenity areas. And I would set up some sort of routine that they would go in and inspect these as well. I would also make sure your leasing staff is periodically inspecting your amenity areas as well. Is everything showing well? Is there any old flyers that need to be taken down or removed or expired? Is there any signage that needs to be updated or refreshed? Are any flags around the property in the amenity areas need to be replaced? Is it ready for a tour? These are the things as a leasing staff I would have them focus on, as they are going to have much more of an eye for detail when it comes to leasing and showing the amenity areas. And the last thing to consider when it comes to your schedule is your vendors. When are your pool vendors coming out to inspect your pool and treat it with chemicals and things like that? Also, another thing you want to schedule with your vendor is taking care of the fitness equipment, at least quarterly, if not monthly in some cases. This is really important to ensure that fitness equipment is maintaining its warranty and that your fitness equipment is operating safely and correctly for your residents. Number 2 thing to keep in mind when managing your amenity areas, you really want to make sure your amenity areas are part of your tour and it's incorporated. And it doesn't really necessarily matter if it's the front end of the tour or the back end of the tour. It's just important that they are included a part of your regular tour path. This is all things that your residents or potential residents are going to get as part of their package and their value of living at your site. So it's really important they see everything that's included at your site. I would really try to make sure that all amenity areas are included as part of all of your tours. I know there may be certain situations where you're not able to include certain amenity areas just because of the distance to the models or where it's located or things like that, but if you're able to, I would really try to include all amenity areas as part of your tour. And if you don't include them as part of your tour, that you're at least mentioning them during your tour. And then the last but not least thing to include when it comes to managing your amenity areas is make sure you communicate. Make sure you communicate when these areas are going to be down for maintenance, when they'll be cleaned. Make sure you include if you update them periodically. Make sure you include to your vendors as well, not just your residents, but your vendors and staff as well. If one of your amenity areas is going to be closed for a period of time, maybe your fitness center is getting painted, for example, and it's going to be closed for a couple days. You really want to make sure your vendor that works on your fitness equipment is aware of this, so they're not coming out and charging you a trip fee, but they can't service the equipment because that room is getting painted. It's really important to make sure that everything is communicated effectively to all of your residents, vendors, and employees when anything's going to be closed or updated or things like that. If you do have any comments or questions about this video or any of my videos, feel free to comment below and I'll be happy to address them. And if you did find this video helpful and learned something new, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Happy leasing!